Welcome to Aaron's Neighborhood. Please support us by giving us a like or by subscribing.
My name is Carl, and I'm going to be your safari guide today. Now, take a look above you. That's our animal spotting gun. Those are all of the animals that we have here on the reserve, give or take a few. Now, we won't be able to see all of them due to migratory patterns, and some animals aren't just naturally nocturnal, which means that they're most active during the nighttime. But do always keep your eyes peeled. You never know what we're going to find out there. Now, we do also ask for your safety that every single individual remain fully seated at all times. There will be absolutely no exceptions to that rule. We are going to be going through some very narrow spaces with thick underbrush and thorns. A truck cannon will jump from side to side very suddenly because these roads are really rough. So even if the truck is stopped, do remain seated. Younger explorers can sit on someone's lap to get a better view. There they must remain fully seated, facing forwards. Now this is going to be a photo safari, so you can take as many photos and videos as you like. We do encourage it. Although a sports motor action will end up being very, very useful. The animals don't really like to stop and pose for us, nor can we make very many stops out on the reserve today. Now we are entering into the Little Aturi Forest, home to many shy and reclusive forest-dwelling animals. Now they are going to use their natural colors and patterns as forms of camouflage against predators, but that does also mean that they may try to hide from us. So do keep your eyes peeled. Though it does look like on the right-hand side immediately we're going to spot an okapi. Now the okapi is most famous for its white and black striped legs. It does surprise a lot of people to learn that the okapi is the only living relative of the giraffe, and we know that because of its skull structure and its prehensile, that is its finger-like tongue that it uses to pull leaves off of branches. Now those white and black striped legs may remind you of a zebra, however their purpose is to camouflage the okapi in the thick underbrush to trick a predator into thinking that they're nothing more than sunbeams coming through the trees. Now, it looks like coming up on this left-hand side, there are two very beautiful birds called saddle-billed storks. Now, the saddle-billed stork can stand up to 5 feet tall. They can also have up to a 9-foot wingspan. Now, they do live alone, or at least in pairs. It's actually believed that they mate for life, which is really quite adorable. Now, looks like on the left there's going to be a black rhino hanging out back there. Now, the black rhino, reclusive and solitary, can weigh up to 3,000 pounds and charge at up to 35 miles an hour. Now, they are critically endangered. There's less than 5,000 of them left in the world, and that's because they've been poached for their horns. Now, many people think of a scientific or medicinal quality to them, but in fact, they are just made of keratin, the exact same substance that your hair and your fingernails are made of. And as a reminder, folks, younger explorers must remain fully and completely seated. They cannot be held up. They cannot be passed back and forth. That is for your child's safety. Now, all of our friends here in the forest do require trees and bushes for survival, but deforestation for paper products is going to take a devastating toll on these animals. But just by recycling paper and making sure that we are buying products made with 100% recycled paper, we can help stop deforestation in its tracks, saving these animals' habitats and so many others around the world. It looks like we are leaving the forest and we are entering into a border territory known as the Safi River. Now, the Safi River is going to be home to some pretty big and powerful animals. Now, many of them do spend the majority of their day under the water, so we have to look a little extra hard to try to find them. No, looks like we don't have to look too terribly hard at all. On the left-hand side, there's going to be a whole bloat of hippos. Now, the hippopotamus is considered one of the most dangerous animals in Africa. Full-grown adult male hippo can weigh up to 5,500 pounds. They are also extremely territorial, which is what makes them so incredibly dangerous. Now, they do spend the majority of their day under the water. That's to help regulate their body temperature. It's going to be during the nighttime, where they tend to come up out of the water to graze along the riverbanks. Now, on the island, we're going to find some pink-back pelican. Pink-back pelican, the other name for the light pink-back they sport during mating season. They do also have a very impressive wingspan of 7 to 9 feet. mostly fish. They have been known to attack anything from a porcupine to a zebra to a smaller hippo to even crocodiles. Now hippos and crocodiles don't have very many of any natural enemies. Instead, it's going to be plastics being introduced into the water supply that is going to hurt them the most. By not recycling plastic, they do end up in oceans and riverways around the world, not even killing these animals, but just by recycling of plastic and making sure that we are keeping single-use plastic far away from our daily lives. We can't help stop that vicious cycle. Really good example, instead of using single-use plastic straws, you can use straws made of silicone, metal, bamboo, even a heavier plastic that can wash and reuse time and time again. Scientists have estimated that by 2050 there will be more plastic straws in our oceans than actual number of aquatic animals. So we really do need to do ourselves save as many of these animals as we possibly can. On the right-hand side, we are going to find a baobab tree, also known as the upside-down tree or the tree of life. Now, it remains leafless for almost 9 months out of the year, stores all of that water inside its fantastic-looking trunk. There have been baobab trees with recorded ages of nearly 2,000 years old. Now we are entering into the savannah, which is home to some of the most iconic animals that we may think of. Now we are going to descend right on down to get us up close and personal with as many of these animals as we can find from a safe distance, of course. Now there may be a time though when an animal is just simply too close to the road for me to be able to stop for it, but I will try to go as slowly as I can, provided that we do continue to remain seated and that we don't try to touch the animals or the foliage in any way. Now looks like we are going to find quite the hodgepodge of different animals. Now on the right-hand side, first we're going to find the Ankole cattle, also known as the Watusi cattle, after the people who first domesticated them. They are the only domesticated animal on the reserve. Their horns grow to be about 4 to 6 feet in length. They are neither solid nor hollow. They are honeycombed on the inside, which allows blood vessels to travel through, like a personal air conditioning system. Now, next we are going to find some springbok roaming around. Those little tiny ones, springbok, get their name from their ability to spring 6 feet up in the air when excited or frightened. They also make the top 10 fastest land animals, thus running at a speed of up to 55 miles an hour. Now, looks like on the left-hand side, we are, in fact, going to find a nocturnal animal, which is going to be the hyena. Looks like there's 2 of them. Now, the hyena gets a really bad rap for being considered a scavenger, but in fact, they hunt the majority of their prey. Now, they do live in supremely matriarchal societies. Even the lowest-ranking female will rank higher than the highest-ranking male. Looks like we are going to come across some termite mounds, which are these curious-looking smokestack structures. Now, termite mounds are made of 3 very simple ingredients: soil, saliva, and dung. Now, bake out in the sun all day long, they end up becoming as hard as concrete. Many animals will use them as scratching posts, and once they're worn down, a prey animal would actually stand on top of them to get a better outlook for predators in the tall grass. On this right-hand side, we're going to find some wildebeest. Now, wildebeest get their name from Afrikaans, meaning wild beast, although in Swahili they are known as Gnu. G-N-U after the sounds that they make. Wildebeest will gather in herds of up to 1.5 million for the Great Migration, where they travel about 500 to 1,000 miles across the savannah in search of on the left, there are going to be 2 giraffes. Now, the giraffe is the tallest animal in the world. They can reach a height of about 18 to 20 feet. They do spend the majority of their day eating and only require around 30 minutes of sleep per day, and the most likely do that standing up so they can better get away from the predators. there's going to be 2 baby giraffes there on the left. Now, baby giraffes, when born, will average about 6 feet tall. They also have a 6-foot drop in reality when they're born as well. Those giraffes are all specifically Maasai giraffe, and we can tell because of the spotted regular coats that they have. It almost looks like someone painted out on the lines just a little bit. Now, as a reminder, younger tourists must remain completely seated, please. Looks like we are traveling through some red clay pits. Now, red clay is eaten by elephants because extra minerals they don't get through the normal diets of vegetation. You can start to see some tusk marks where the elephants have been digging out the clay. Looks like there's a couple footprints around also. Looks like they could have been made by that elephant over there on the left, but I can't get a better view. Now, I only see one elephant, so I'm tempted to say it could be a male. Now, at about 13 to 15 years of age, the male African elephant is actually kicked out of the herd to lead a solitary bachelor's life. They may occasionally meet up with other bachelor elephants, form sort of a loose bachelor pad, if you will, but mostly they will just end up remaining alone. Now, herds of elephants. Herds of elephants are comprised of exclusive adult females and their children. The matriarch, the eldest female, she's the one to lead. She knows the best places to find food, water, and also those dangerous places to stay away from. Now, as a full-grown adult, elephants can eat up to 300 pounds of food per day. They can also drink up to 43 gallons worth of water. It is a misconception that elephants drink water through their trunks like a straw. Sort of true, but they actually just hold the water inside of their trunks before they spray it into their mouth. Like on the left, there's going to be some greater flamingo, the largest and lightest and pink of all flamingo species, but when they're born, they're not actually pink, they are gray little fuzzballs. They get their pink color from the krill shrimp and other crustaceans eat that are high in beta-carotene. The same beta-carotene found in carrots. Group of flamingos is called a flamboyance.
Flamingo. You gotta wave at her when you go by. Wave, say hi. Aloha.
She's not there, but she stayed down. She stayed at the...
Yeah.
looks like the warden's been hard at work tracking down the poachers who want to hurt these gentle animals. Now, we aren't using the most advanced technology we know to be able to stop them. It is a constant back and forth cat and mouse game, but we are determined to win at any cost. Anything to help save these animals who are defenseless against poachers. There on the left lying down, but there is one roaming around a little further up on the left. Now, the cheetah is the fastest land animal in the world. They can reach a speed of about 60 miles an hour on average, though they can only maintain that speed for a couple hundred yards. They are sprinters, not long-distance runners. Cheetahs are the only big cat species to have non-retractable claws. Their claws rain out at all times. They're also going to be the only big cat species that will purr like a domestic house cat, which is very cute, although they are still very dangerous. Now, this rock structure on the left is called a copy, a natural set of rocks that extends up and juts out into the savanna, provides a great outlook for predatory cats like a lion. Now, we do find a male lion there on the left-hand side. Now, we can tell that it's a male lion because of the wiry coppery mane that surrounds his face, and lionesses will lack that fur. Now, lions may live in a patriarchal society, which means that the male lion is the one to lead. However, the lionesses will go out and do the majority of the hunting. The male lion just sort of stays behind, guards the pride that he got. Basically, he acts as an oversized and, quite frankly, very lazy babysitter.
Oh, there's the female right there.
Looks like there is going to be a lioness there on the left. Now, lions will sleep for 18 to 20 hours of their day. They're actually asleep for so long out of the day that they're only going to be awake for approximately 3 years worth of their entire lifespan.
Over here, there's two. That's a big kitty.
So they're gonna just sit there like, I don't have to do this. Yeah, there's another one up there. Just a second.
Sitting up here watching guard. No little gremlins coming in. Gremlin. Don't play with the lions.
Now, on this right-hand side, we're going to find beautiful brown animals called bontebok. Now, the bontebok is a relative of the wildebeest. They've been poached to near extinction for the fur coat, so they have to take on a purplish gloss in the right sunlight. At one point in time, there were only around 17 bontebok left in the world, but thanks to some very aggressive conservation efforts, we have been able to save their populations. Now, looks like coming up on the right also, there's going to be some ostriches, the largest bird in the world, and flightless, although they can run up to 40 miles an hour. They're going to use their wings to guide them left and right. We also find ostrich eggs there on the right-hand side. Ostrich eggs weigh about 3 pounds each, which is the equivalent of 2 dozen chicken eggs. Their shells are going to be so strong that a full-grown human man could stand on top of them, and they won't break. Because if you just sort of play around in the savannah like that all day long, they may be kicked or disturbed, so they will need those strong shells to survive.
Yeah, that's a big egg.
Now, my friends, it does look like we are reaching reaching the end of our safari journey together. Now, I really must emphasize how much these animals are in need of our help. Anything from just recycling your standard paper and plastic to even in your daily lives, in your stores and supermarkets, making sure that the products you're looking to buy come from sustainable sources. That is, that they're good for animals and habitats, but also that they were bought at fair trade prices, which means that the farmers and merchants were paid a fair and honest price per ounce or per pound of food. Now, here at Disney's Animal Kingdom, we do have the Disney Conservation Fund. At any merchandise shop or food and beverage location, you may choose to round up to the dollar to help support the fund. Not only will Disney match your donation 100% penny for penny, dollar for dollar, but all of those proceeds go directly to conservation efforts around the world. And that's just one extra super simple way that we can help give back, because in truth, we don't inherit this planet from our parents. We only borrow this planet from our children. So to ensure that these animals do stay around for generations and generations to come, we do have to work now in order to protect them. Last year alone, the Disney Conservation Fund donated over $5 million for 76 different projects around the world. It is absolutely outstanding what we can do when we all work together, which is exactly what Harambe means in Swahili, to come together or to work together. Now we are getting back into the village, which is our final destination point. Take this time to look around to make sure that we do have